camera gear I'm getting rid of in 2025. I have a lot of gear just laying around, and I think a lot of photographers and you guys probably can relate to this. It is really easy to just keep things. So I thought today's video would be about camera gear that I'm getting rid of, and we could just have a little chat about camera gear because I feel like I need someone to discuss this with. Alright, let's start off with this one, and probably the easiest one. This is my Canon 80D, which is the camera that I used as my main camera before getting the one I'm recording on right now, which is this Sony a7R III. And honestly, this camera has just been laying around for 4 years, which is how long I think I've had this a7R. And it just doesn't make any sense to keep it around. And the reason why I kept it in the beginning was because I thought it would be good to have like a second camera if something would happen and stuff like that. But in all honesty, I haven't used it once. I have used it in the past 2 weeks or something like that for a second angle for my YouTube videos, which you have probably seen. And for that it has been quite nice, but I also realized that the quality is so much worse than on the a7R III, especially for video stuff, because for photography I think it's decent, and I've shot some of my favorite images with this camera. But it is also kind of sentimental because it is like my first real camera, I guess, that I felt like I could create good images with, and a camera that I developed my skills as a photographer with. But it doesn't make sense to keep it. So the 80D is going, and on the 80D right here I have the Sigma 18-35. This lens will have to go as well, but it is a really good lens, and overall I really like Sigma lenses. And the 18-35 is, in my opinion, a really good lens. So these two will go, and with that also this Canon, what is it? 10-18mm, which is just the kit lens that came with the camera when I bought it. So this will go as well. Nothing special about this lens. It is just quite nice to have a 10mm, which is quite unusual. But the 10mm is quite fun. Then let's move on to a camera that I recently bought, actually, which is this Kodakekar H35, which I've made 2-3 videos on the channel about. 35mm film camera, or it is a 35mm half frame film camera. And I got into film photography this year, and I wanted to have a 35mm film camera. So I got this half frame camera from Kodak, which is a newer release. I think it was released in like 2022. And it has been a nice point and shoot film camera. But the thing, or the reason why I'm considering getting rid of it is because I don't really think it fits the kind of photography I want to do. So this is more like a, what would you say, sort of a disposable camera. The images are very similar to a disposable camera. You don't really have any settings. You can turn on or off the flash. That's pretty much all there is to it. Not to say that the images are bad, but since it's a half frame camera, you get less resolution than with a normal 35mm camera. And 35 from the beginning isn't that large. I'm considering getting rid of it. I think I will. It's not that expensive, so if I would want to get one again, I could. If I want to shoot film, I know I want it to be like more intentional, and this is not really an intentional camera. This is more a point and shoot. So if I want to shoot film, I would rather pick up this old 70-year-old Icoflex, size Icon Icoflex camera, because I enjoy it so much more. I think it is a lot more fun to use, and here you actually have some settings to work with. I'm probably getting rid of it. I might get another 35mm camera in the future, something that probably would fit my photography better, but this is not really something that I would be continuing using going forward in 2025. Probably not. This is more like travel camera or capturing memories. But for that, I would rather use a digital camera. But let's move on to something else, and that is lenses. And now we're talking lenses for my Sony a7R III, which I'm recording on right now. And for that camera, I right now have two lenses. And on the camera right now is a Tamron 28 to 75 millimeter, and here I also have the Sigma 70-200. The lens that is on the camera right now is a nice lens. It's quite cheap, but it isn't like my favorite lens, if you know what I mean. It is okay, but I don't think it's great. You sort of also do get what you pay for. So I'm considering getting rid of the 28 to 75 millimeter and getting something else as a replacement for that lens. I would like to have something that, yeah, is a bit clearer, sharper, a bit nicer bokeh. So yeah, I'm considering getting rid of that. So if you guys know any good replacements for that lens, I would love to know. I'm not made out of money, but yeah, something that would be a better replacement for that lens. I don't know, what's your opinion on that? And then I also have this Sigma 70-200. And the thing with this lens, I truly love this lens. It's amazing. I bought it for the Canon 80D, so I have to use a Canon EF to Sony E mount converter to be able to use this Sigma lens on my Sony a7R III. And the reason for that is because when I purchased this lens, I purchased it for the Canon 80D, and then when I switched to the a7R III, Sigma hadn't released their Sony version of this lens yet, which they just did like a year ago. Maybe it's not even that long ago. So what I'm thinking is it worth getting rid of this one and purchasing the new Sony version? I don't know. Have any of you guys had the same experience as me? Because I really love this lens. I would definitely consider getting the Sony version of it, but the question is it really worth it? Because I'm probably, yeah, I will have to pay some kind of difference in between what I'm able to sell this for and what I can get the new one for. All right, we are getting through this. Now let's move on to the thing that might be the most controversial on this channel, and that is the Panasonic Lumix LX100 Mark II. And this is a camera that I've made a lot of videos on this channel, and a lot of you watching this are probably using this camera or have started following me because of this camera, and now I'm actually considering getting rid of it. And this is this is a tough decision. So what I've been thinking is I really like having a smaller camera like this as my second camera rather than something like this, which I'm never using. So I want something that is sort of this form factor going forward as well, but I'm considering getting something else than this one. And that is just because, yeah, I like changing things up, but also I think there are better options out there. I could get better quality with similar like looks, with similar form factors, with, yeah. So it's not like this is the only camera that can give you this thing, in my opinion. There are others out there, so I'm considering getting rid of this one and getting something else. And this is like my travel camera, my everyday camera, what I use most of the time. And it is really, really nice to have something this size. But I haven't decided yet, we will see. I don't really know what I could get for this one on the secondhand market. We'll have to check that out as well. But yeah, I think it might be time to get something else than this one. Now let's talk about something a little bit different, and something that was quite popular a few years ago. Maybe it still is, but... So here's the deal. A couple of years ago, I, just like a lot of other people, fell into the trap, or not the trap, but fell into a hobby of flying drones. And not only drones, but also flying FPV drones. And I have this backpack just full of FPV stuff, and honestly I haven't used it in maybe 2-3 years. And there is so much stuff. There are controllers, there's small mini practice drones, there's drones that I've built myself, I can't even get it out of the bag. So there's FPV drones I built myself, and I have another one that is a Cinewhoop. A lot of FPV stuff that I honestly haven't been using. I think the main reason why I haven't used it is because my interests have gone rather away from videography and more towards photography over like the last 5 years, and therefore I just haven't really used my FPV drones in a very long time, which is really unfortunate because flying FPV is, first of all, extremely fun. Second of all, it looks really cool, but I don't really have any projects where I need it. It just takes a lot of time, and I don't really have that time. I don't know, it's hard. It's hard to get rid of because it is so much fun to fly. But since I'm not using it, I don't think it makes any sense to keep it. And then going into 2025, there are other things I am looking towards getting instead of like all of this. I would like to, as I said, upgrade lenses, might exchange the Panasonic LX100, and then I would also like better microphone for YouTube stuff and for social media stuff. Then just other small like filters and other accessories would be nice to get that I need or want. But with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been fun, nice for me to talk a little bit about gear, what I'm thinking. I think it's been good to sort of, for me to get this out on the table and realize what I need and what I don't need. But yeah, I would love to hear your guys' opinion, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Keep on building projects. Is that a new one? Is that it?